Hello everyone, my name is Nick, and this is my Phase 6 wishlist for the MCU. Now, Marvel's Phase 5 is about 4 movies from completion, and I thought, what better time to look at what they have planned for Phase 6 and discuss what I, and others, would like to see. Going into this, I think my main wish for Phase 6 in general is that it's a nice shift from what we've seen thus far in Phase 4 and 5. Less formulaic, smaller stakes instead of galaxy-ending threats. I mean, don't get me wrong, I liked Phase 4 and I really enjoyed Phase 5, but the magic of what made the build-up to Endgame so special is lost when every movie feels as though it's trying to top the last in scale. I feel Phase 6 could benefit from stories closer to home and less grand. Phase 5 has felt like the new neighbor your mom forces you to play with, but you don't share any of the same interests, and they're trying way too hard to come off as cool around your friends. That being said, Phase 6 seems slated to deliver some fresh stories that fans have been excited for since they hit the pages of comic books. Unfortunately, at this time, we don't know much of what's slated for Phase 6 aside from 3 movies. Those being Fantastic Four in November of 2024, Avengers Kang Dynasty in May of 2025, and Avengers Secret Wars in November of 2025. Still, I have high hopes for what Marvel is building towards. One of the biggest problems with Phase 4 and 5 was that it often felt rushed, disjointed, and messy. It's like they tried cramming backstory in each movie just in case viewers hadn't been keeping up with the shows, and the shows, like the films, have been pushed out at an incredibly fast rate. One of my wishes for Phase 6 is that the movies and shows are less plentiful, but more impactful to the overall story. I look forward to seeing how the Avengers are reformed and what members join. But again, this is something I hope we can see happen gradually. But that comes later. The first event we're slated to see in Phase 6 is the introduction of the Fantastic Four. Now, in the past, Marvel has had trouble with the Fantastic Four, but that was under a different studio. Now, with control firmly in Marvel Studios' hands, we have a Fantastic Four movie true to Marvel's vision. My main wish for Fantastic Four is that we delve more into what makes these characters so special, like Reed Richards' genius, but also his ego, and Johnny Storm's eccentricity and cockiness, maybe focusing a bit more on Reed Richards' story as a central protagonist. He as a character feels a lot like Doctor Strange in how he was portrayed and his story was told in his movie. I think a similar portrayal of mind and ego conflicting with duty and honor would really push this movie a step above. Another wish of mine is that the villain be anyone but Doctor Doom. I see Doctor Doom as a recurring villain, one that really is an Avengers-level threat. Plus, there's so many other great villains to choose from. Mole Man, Annihilus, Namor, Galactus, just to name a few. If we do see the Fantastic Four's origin again, which I think we would have to, given there's been no sign that they already exist in the main universe, I personally hope it delves into the aftermath in a similar way as the original 2000s Fantastic Four did, showcasing how for some members, it's a tragic deformity, while for other people, like Johnny Storm and Richards, it's seen as a tool or as an advantage. As far as casting, I'm not sure who I'd cast for the team. The wiki page points to rumors of John Krasinski as Reed Richards, Emily Blunt as Sue Storm, Zac Efron as Johnny Storm, and Andy Serkis as Ben Grimm, for some reason. And while that casting isn't terrible, I don't think I'd ever forgive Marvel for casting Zac Efron as Johnny Storm. As for my wishes for Avengers Kang Dynasty, my main hope is that if Jonathan Majors is recast, it's someone with that same level of intensity and control. Marvel casting is almost always stellar, so I do have high hopes for Kang. In addition, I hope they showcase just how vast and infinite the multiverse truly is. It was one of my favorite parts of Multiverse of Madness. I also saw someone mention that a smart way to introduce mutants into the universe is for them to have been purposefully pruned from the sacred timeline by Kang, so he didn't have to deal with them. But now that there is no sacred timeline, they start popping up. Leading into Secret Wars, I think it'd be cool to see Tom Holland's Spider-Man get the symbiote suit in a solo movie before we see it in Secret Wars, something I've seen a lot of others voice an opinion on. Another wish is that we see the X-Men get some screen time right alongside current Marvel heroes. I've seen some say that they'd like to see dead heroes return, but I think that risks belittling their sacrifices and character arcs. However, a big death for Secret Wars would make sense. Maybe Thor, given how long Chris Hemsworth has been playing the character. Another opinion I've seen is ending the movie as a semi-reboot. Some have said it would allow for some properties to be introduced more seamlessly. All original events still intact, living characters still around, the dead still dead, and the new versions of Secret Wars characters, like the X-Men, introduced naturally as if they were already present in the MCU's history even before the incursion. Regardless, I'm excited to see what Marvel has planned for us, and I can only hope that they outdo themselves in the lead-up to some of the greatest stories in comics. This has been my wish list, but let me know if you guys have any of your own. Thanks as always for watching, and if you want to see more, hit that like button and maybe subscribe too. See you soon.